Welcome back to the channel for another D&D themed video. Today we are going to be looking at yet another map maker, Inkarnate. This is another one run through your browser, so you don't have to have any real PC with any strength really to use this. It's completely free. You can pay for their premium, which I think is like it's like $5 a month or $25 if you get a year or something like that. I can't remember exactly. I've had premium for such a long time now. I just don't really remember how much it costs because I pay like once a year. It just gives you tons and tons of assets, and what I use this for specifically, I really like using this for my battle maps and my small scale city maps if I need something done pretty quick. I like using Wonder Draft, which I'm having some trouble with right now. I was gonna make a video on that before this, but I have been using this last couple days. Let's just pump out a video for it. Fuck it. I'm gonna choose this fantasy battle map style here because I'm just gonna run us through how to do a quick battle map. There's also gonna be a combo video on how to make a battle map for a very dense enclosed forest setting, and still show all your trees and all that, give you a feeling of being closed in but still able to see and move around freely. And make sure we fill it with grass. There we go. That's already much better. I'm just gonna keep it looking like that. Honestly, that works just fine for what I need. And what I like to do, you may have seen in my collection there a couple of forest maps. I like to put trees all along the outside of a map here. So I'm going to put my scale all the way up. Not quite all the way up. It's some big fucking trees. And then I'm just going to go around the outside of this map, placing down trees in a perimeter here. This is going to be... Oops. Yep. Perfect. This is going to be to set the stage for the perimeter of the battle. No fighting really going to be done here when you're using your map. So what I then like to do is transfer over, go to your open catalog button here. Tons and tons of stuff in the premium battle map section. You can get really detailed on interiors of buildings, a lot of that, but I use Dungeon Alchemist for that. I have a video coming out on that shortly as well. I use a lot of different map making programs, guys. I'm very sorry, but they all have their use, and I use them all in different ways. What I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna go up to the search function here. I'm gonna search for stump. I like this stump set here. Way too big, right? What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna have my grid show so I can see my size here. I want to, let's see, this grass it's growing on me, but I want a little more just regular grass. So I'm going to get to my brush layer and make sure I got foreground selected. And when you brush it, it's going to brush over it really dark, but I just want a light covering of that grass. I'm going to turn the opacity down to about 0.3. I'm going to get the size of the brush all the way up. I'm just going to brush some green grass over this whole map at a low opacity, just to bring the green out a little bit more over these dark dirt patches. Just not quite liking them as much as I go on looking at this. You can see if I undo what I just did, pretty big noticeable difference after some time doing it. Not a very big difference to your players probably, but I want to look at something a little nicer while I'm messing around. So now that's too small for a stump, right? How big is that stump? Is that an inch? These squares 5 feet. It's like a fucking, I don't know. That's like a foot. It's still too small. I have a world right now, very large trees, all packed together, hard to move through. I want to feel like they are not hindered completely, but I want to, it is rough terrain. I want them to feel, what the fuck is the word? Claustrophobic. Yeah, that's the word. I want them to feel claustrophobic. So I'm going to do, in my advanced setting, I'm going to have it on multiple. I'm just going to test out That's a little too claustrophobic. That's at 100 density. I'll bump that down to 40. Even that's a little too much for me, honestly. Because this is a larger battle map. I mean, fucking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can only move this far per turn. It's gonna take them many turns to cross this. So really, they're not gonna use this whole space. They're most likely gonna be put on the map around here against assailants right here. I still want them to be able to move around freely. So that's why it's so large. But oh yeah, that is a good spacing of trees here. I want you to be able to look in a straight line and just see tree stumps as far as you can go. People be easily hide behind tree stumps. A lot of cover work, a lot of trees. Now you might say, well, this just looks like you're in a clearing, like someone went down and cut down a bunch of trees. You're not wrong. It does look like that. What I like to do is this. I go back to the brush, open the catalog. There's a shadow option that you can draw, and it just makes it straight up darker. What I like to do, I like to get pretty high opacity, pretty dark shadows, and go over the edge of this dense clearing right here, right? Where there is near total darkness because of the tree cover. Near total darkness because of the tree cover. You really feel that shadow coming in. And then what I do, drop the size down about this big, and I give each tree stump a bit of shadow, as if the tree was actually looming over top of this and you're standing under the shadow. What this also does, as you'll see after I'm done doing a bit of a patch of this, is it creates nice pockets of bright light, where most of my darkness and in my forest is in perpetual dim lighting, if not complete darkness if it's nighttime. So what you got here is you got pockets of dim lighting, but if there's happens to be someone in here, bright light. You can see pretty good through this stretch, especially if you're right here. You got a pretty good sight line through these sets of trees that have popped up. I'm gonna go through and shade the rest of these, and I'll show you what to do after this.
5 minutes later.
All right, so I got all of that circles done here after these last couple. And now what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lower the opacity just a little bit more, and then I'm gonna go over the whole map basically with a bit of shadow. Just one pass of shadow basically. I don't really like, that's a little too much shadow, even that. I'm gonna go down to like 0.2. Just trying to darken it just a little bit more. No, maybe not even quite 0.2. Let's move it. Let's just check and see what that did. A tiny bit more. There's the opacity, one pass. Perfect. So that is a forest battle map. This is just out random encounter in the forest. Something pops out at you, boom, slap this in there, you're good to go. This is I love using Inkarnate for this, because that shadow brush with the tree stumps, it's just the perfect selection of assets that I want to use. It makes it so easy, and I feel like putting this ring of actual trees down really sets the scene for this. Is, if you looked from the sky and looked down, it would be those trees across the whole thing, but we need that X-ray view to be able to see exactly what we're all doing here. Thanks for watching this quick-ish video on battle maps in Inkarnate, especially forest battle maps with how to do dense tree cover. I like to go into more detail on a city map maker as well in Inkarnate, so I may have a video on that coming out very soon. A few other tools you can use. Inkarnate's a super easy program. You saw all I've done basically is exactly how you do it. It's just between the stamps and the brushing, all built between those two things. You can make this guy, and try it for free. The link's in the description, inkarnate.com. Check it out. Plenty of free assets to use off the rip just to test it out and see if you like it. and a pretty cheap subscription, if you ask me, for a pretty powerful tool. So thank you guys. See you next time.